We continue the holiday season, and we're nearing the New Year's Six Bowl in the college football postseason. It all leads to what we talked about in the national semifinals, Washington and Texas in the Sugar, and then Michigan and Alabama in the Rose Bowl game. A couple of good ones, too, that we'll tackle here. The Peach Bowl should be interesting. Not a lot of opt-outs in that one. Then there's what's in front of us here this weekend, and that does include the Sun Bowl on CBS, Notre Dame and Oregon State, and then a clash of styles in the Citrus Bowl where you have Iowa and Tennessee. Will it be run up, or will Iowa play to another low slugfest of a game? There's a lot of bowl games still left to be played. We got Danny Kanell back with us to break it down. So we talked about the Alamo Bowl last year. Great matchup there with Texas and Washington. This year we get Arizona and Oklahoma. And Danny, if in an alternate universe, if we were just talking about second half teams, Arizona might actually be playing for a national championship here. They're coming in hot. What do you think of the line here as the Wildcats are slight favorites, about 1.5 points?
You're right, Tommy. Arizona's been a phenomenal story. Jed Fish has this program turned in the right direction. Noah Fafita, their quarterback, has been like just a sensation. Like, he took over the job due to injury and never looked back. He's been awesome. The defense looks like the Desert Swarm back in the 90s. All that being said, I am backing the Sooners on this one. Even without Dylan Gabriel, Jackson Arnold does feel like the future for the Sooners. And now that he's had a couple weeks to prepare those 15 extra bowl practices, Danny Stutzman, one of the better defenders, announced he was coming back for another year. Brent Venables, this is the difference to me. Brent Venables, defensive-minded coach against a younger quarterback who has been great this season, but with time to prepare, I think he'll confuse him enough, throw him off his game. And I think the Jackson Arnold era gets started off with a bang. So I'll go ahead and back the Sooners as the dog here, and I think they win the game outright.
All right, let's shift to the Gator Bowl happening right up the road in Jacksonville between Clemson and Kentucky. This one interesting. When I was looking through our research notes from our awesome research team, I love this nugget. 2009, the Music City Bowl featured these two teams in what was Dabo Swinney's first complete season as the head coach of Clemson. So now you push things forward a couple of years. They have this Kentucky matchup once again. They're slightly favored here at 4.5. Danny, do you like the Tigers, or are you rolling with the Wildcats?
So I am an ACC guy by nature because Florida State plays in there. Although I'm not one of those people, like I'll never cheer for the conference. But I do think this is one that the ACC desperately needs after some ugly losses. Louisville to USC, North Carolina lost earlier. I think this is the one they get back. They get some revenge. Excuse me. So I'm going to back Clemson here. Cade Klubnik, after the season started off a little bit rough, he kind of settled in, and I think that was totally normal for this program to see some bumps and bruises along the way with a new offensive coordinator and a first-year starting quarterback. But once the back end of the season, they started to settle in, they faced some adversity, got the win over Notre Dame, and they never looked back. I think this is a program that in general, when you ask the question, who wants to be there, I think they typically show up for bowl games. I think Kentucky will too, but I think Clemson is a deeper roster, so I like Clemson to win this one and cover.
So DK's given us his best bet on the Thursday slate. You're now giving us the best bet on a Friday slate. If we go to Saturday, which you're giving us two, but one's the alumni one, which we'll get to with Florida State and the Orange here. I mentioned the Peach here, right? We've got Ole Miss and Penn State. Nittany Lions late by 4.5. It's a game that doesn't have a lot of opt-outs either. So these are two good teams, not great, but they should have most of their guys on the field. What's the best bet for you?
So I've been pegged as an SEC antagonist at times, but I'm actually going to back the SEC team here. I think Ole Miss, 10 wins, a chance to get 11 wins for the first time in school history. I think that is the carrot that Lane Kiffin will dangle in front of his team and say, here's an opportunity to do something that no one in the history of this program has done. Tommy mentioned the buy-in. I think they get it. And Jackson Dart has been really good. He was, they brought in Spencer Sanders from Oklahoma State, Walker Howard, some quarterbacks to challenge him. He rose to the occasion. They run the football. I think they're physical. And don't forget Penn State this season. They had such big expectations. Drew Aller was supposed to be the savior to take him to the next level. Maybe he is, and that was probably lofty for the first-year starter anyway. But what'd they do? They fell short again, losing both to Ohio State and Michigan, and neither game was significantly close. I think Ole Miss is just a better football team here. Also, you have a new offensive coordinator. You lost your defensive coordinator, Manny Diaz, to Duke. So some question marks around Penn State's coaching staff. I'll go ahead and back Ole Miss as the underdog in this one.
All right, our last game here, the Orange Bowl between number 6 Georgia and Florida State, or I should say the ghost of Florida State at this point, number 5 in the country going into this one. Danny, there's so many players missing that like we had a running list for a while, and now it's like there's no point in even having the list. That being said, you still are taking Florida State in this one, despite the line being minus 19.5 in favor of Georgia. Tell us why Florida State alums should be backing their school in this matchup.
Haley, do you know the Seminoles? They have a heart of a champion. And champions don't throw in the towel until it's time for the final season, the final whistle to blow. This is on principle alone. Around 13.5, probably would have said back Georgia, but at 19.5 points, and I might even sit back and let it keep going because that has been the trend. But at some point, you've got to have some pride. And I do think Mike Norvell, in what has been probably the toughest month of his entire coaching career, to try to keep this team together, to try to keep guys from leaving. But this is an opportunity for some of the young players to step up. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on Brock Glenn, but he's one of the guys that has known that he would be starting in this game. So you get to extra practice. I think he'll be much more prepared, as will Mike Norvell, coming into this game, because he looked completely overwhelmed in the ACC championship game. That game is in the rear view. I think fresh start, young talent. I think they can keep inside the number. Now, I'm not crazy, though. I'm not calling for the outright upset. This one you may be sweating out late, but I'm going to take all those points and back Florida State.
It's a lot of points. When this opened about a month ago, 13.5. But everything that we're seeing and all the money that comes in, almost 3 full touchdowns. Danny, certainly appreciate it. Best of luck with your best bets this week and to all our players as well. But again, all the things that Danny likes. On Thursday, back the Sooners. On Friday, back the Tigers. On Saturday, you do get a twofer. He likes the Rebels there with Ole Miss, and then the alumni play with the Noles, grabbing 19.5. So it is bowl season. CBS, we've got the one for you that we've got this time of year, the Sun Bowl, sponsored by Tony the Tiger. Oregon State and Notre Dame tomorrow at 2 Eastern on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.